CzarThwomp here, and welcome to episode 3 of The Greatest Attorney 2 Resolved. Last time, we cross-examined Hosonaga some more because basically it was stated, oh, why would the knife be removed? Why would basically my mommy take out the knife knowing that it would cause hemorrhaging? And we showed a poisoning article that we determined by the art of examining evidence, and now we're going to continue forward.
Why did Ray suspect the stolen poison was involved? If you want grounds, I'll give you grounds. What? You can't possibly!
From your expression, counsel, it would appear that those are not empty words. But naturally, as you stand in this courtroom as a lawyer, you must be aware that words alone, empty or not, are of no value in our modern justice. The court demands evidence.
Yes, Your Excellency, I am well aware of that. I've seen it many times, from my place at his side in the Old Bailey.
In that case, counsel, you will present the proof to the court now. What evidence demonstrates a clear link between this case and the newspaper's article?
Okay.
Take that!
How exactly would you explain this piece of evidence in connection to the newspaper article?
In truth, I'm not really sure. But my father always taught me to ask my elders whenever I was in trouble, so I thought I should ask your opinion, Your Excellency.
If it's advice you seek, counsel, then I suggest that before indiscriminately thrusting evidence under my nose, why not thrust it under the nose of the professor at your side?
I think he means you.
Good grief! Thrusting that under my nose isn't going to solve anything here. We must use our heads. The article in the paper had details of the toxin. Now, where have we seen similar details? Does nowhere come to mind?
You mean I ought to search through all the evidence looking for that?
If I'm not mistaken, it appears that the advice of your elders has given you an idea.
Yes, I'd like another chance to present evidence if I may, Your Excellency.
Okay. Okay, bottle, mask. Okay. Let's see.
Take that!
How exactly would you...
Oh, okay, it's not the article. I thought basically we were proving that. Oh, hey, it's linked. Okay. Okay.
Rosh's English attorney tells all. This is the interview with you and Soseki-san, isn't Father? It looks as though it was quite an exchange.
Yes, he became a little over-animated when he was talking about his time in England. The photographer managed to capture the moment his hand karate chopped me on the neck.
I do hope you weren't hurt.
Yeah, because the poison would be able to be tracked. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Pupil constriction. Okay. Let me just check. Okay.
Take that!
Thank you. I knew basically that we were trying to connect it to basically just something on the crime scene.
I'd like the court to refer to the note section of the postmortem report, which reads, extreme mosius of pupil contraction was observed in the victim. Clearly, being a yokel with no knowledge of forensic science, I have no idea, so please do tell me. Presumably, the fact that this condition of the victim was noted in the postmortem section means that it's an unusual symptom of death. Ew! Under normal circumstances, the pupils dilate when someone dies. If there was extreme constriction instead, that's most certainly unusual, yes.
What are you doing, you yokel detective? Everyone's a yokel! You're a yokel defendant!
You're a yokel defense attorney! You're a yokel detective! That's a yokel judge! Only one in this courtroom isn't a yokel is me! I am high society! In the newspaper article, there's the following information about the stolen poison. Onset of symptoms occurs in minutes, ending with acute constriction of the pupils prior to death. What? If the defendant, upon seeing the victim stabbed in the back, happened to notice that the pupils of Miss Brett's eyes had constricted severely.
Yes, as a medical research assistant, she would have suspected poison immediately, without doubt.
Prosecutor Auchi, I think you'll agree this is very compelling evidence. You! Yokel student and yokel professor!
I believe the defense has expertly demonstrated a credible reason for the defendant's actions.
No!
Eugene Makatoba. Yes, Your Excellency? I believe you are best placed here to confirm or deny the veritability of the defense counsel's argument. You will tell the court the truth about the details reported in this newspaper, please. It pains me to have to admit it, but I'm afraid I don't know. You don't know? The toxin was kept under lock and key in my laboratory, certainly, but I was unaware of any theft. Do you mean to tell the court that the report of this theft was unfounded? No, Your Excellency. Without returning to the laboratory to investigate myself, I couldn't say.
Ha! Listen to the bumbling academic! I am the academic of this courtroom, unaware of the theft of secret state research from his own workplace until he read it in the newspaper.
Want me to kick your ass by this courtroom? Because I will. I take full responsibility for the incompetence of my supervision.
Father, a pitiful situation for a university professor. You should have more control over your students, rather than allowing them off on killing sprees. That's totally unfounded.
None of this is Professor Mikatoba's fault. It's all my fault.
Ray!
Mamami-san, you stand accused here. Outbursts like this will not be tolerated.
But it was me. I was the one who noticed that the poison we were developing had been stolen that day.
What?
So you knew?
I'd been placed in charge of overseeing the project. It was the day that the professor and Soseki-san were interviewed together for the newspaper. That's when I noticed that some of the poison was missing. Just a tiny amount it was.
Why didn't you let me know immediately?
I was scared. The whole project was supposed to be confidential, but some of the toxin had somehow been taken. So I decided to try and get it back before anyone else found out. Because I had a very good idea who the thief was.
The thief? You don't mean...
Yes, of course. It was that dainty English woman.
Miss Jezaille Brett.
That's why I decided to join the little group of people before going to the little group of people going to the beach side. Inside the beach, I confronted Miss Brett. But she just sat on a stool at the back of the hut, smiling sweetly at me as if she knew she was untouchable. I then punched her, and we got into a big fight. Furniture was thrown. I tossed her out the door. She ran back in, but I just punched her right in the throat. I know it was you who stole the poison.
Well now, whatever do you mean?
And then she suddenly got to her feet before falling to her knees in front of me and then collapsing on the floor. That's when I saw the knife in her back. I couldn't understand what had just happened. And then, a moment later, I was seized by fear. The pupils of her eyes had shrunk to tiny pinpoints.
I don't believe it. In other words, you realized that the victim was suffering the effects of the stolen poison.
My mind started racing. I hadn't seen anything past Miss Brett's lips while I'd been with her. which left only one possible way for the poison to have injured her body.
On the blade of the knife in her back?
And that train of thought was what spurred you to withdraw the blade?
Yes, if the amount that injured her bloodstream was small enough, she might still have a chance. That's what I had hoped. Really, I am sorry for staying silent all this time.
Your attempt to hide the truth of what happened is not something that can be overlooked. However, I have duly noted the courage with which you confessed in the end.
Thank you, Your Excellency.
It's barely perceptible, but I do think the balance has shifted a little here in this courtroom now.
Objection!
Your Excellency, do not be deceived! The victim just collapsed before your eyes, you say? Well, but Mommy-san, if that's the case, perhaps you could explain how Miss Brent came to be stabbed.
Well,
You have no answer because the simple truth is that you stabbed the victim motivated by revenge.
Objection!
But you have no conclusive evidence to prove that assertion, do you? Oh, I have evidence, and it is very much conclusive. What's the prosecution up to? It was brief, but he hesitated for a moment there, and I'm almost sure of it.
You will produce the aforementioned evidence at once, Prosecutor Auchi.
Perhaps some praise is due, young yokel student. What? I had imagined there would be no need for me to submit this evidence. But you brought this on yourself! What the? Could a more damage exist? The cruelty in the air of the beach is most palpable. This evidence, more than any other, reveals the true extent of the accused's murderous nature. For it shows the precise moment that Mamami-san plunged the dagger into the victim's back.
no, that's not true. No.
I don't believe it. Ah!
Order, order, order! Counsel for the defense. Was it you who was responsible for that shrill scream that just pierced my courtroom?
Perhaps his voice has yet to break. These yokels are slow of mind and slow to nature. So immature.
I'll show
you who's slow and mature.
Careful now. Susato is starting to show her face here. It is often said that a picture's worth 1,000 words, and here we have ample proof. The court will accept this extremely cogent photographic print as evidence.
the incriminating photograph has been entered in the court record.
I can't believe he's had that photograph like this up his sleeve the entire time. It's such a stark image. I'm generally lost for words.
Wait a minute, I don't understand. Who took that photograph?
Ray,
Objection!
I was screaming on the beach and took it myself. That's of no importance here. Stop trying to divert attention.
Oh.
Objection!
That's an absurd thing to say. It's crucially important. Whoever took this photograph print was a witness to Miss Brent's death. The court must be allowed to hear this person's testimony. Ah!
I will uphold the defense's demand. The prosecution will reveal the identity of the person responsible for taking this photograph at once.
Well, I'm afraid I can't do that. Pardon? You see, this print arrived at the Imperial Police Bureau headquarters by express post yesterday. But there was nothing to indicate the sender's name or address. The province of the print is unknown.
Goodness.
Are we to understand then, counsel, that in full knowledge of the fact that this photograph has the murkiest of origins, you will nevertheless believe it fit for submission as evidence in the Supreme Court?
When you first produced that print before, I noticed that you hesitated for a brief moment. Because you knew that it wasn't completely reliable evidence, didn't you?
Silence! You yokel student blabbering professor! What matters is the blatant truth that this print so eloquently expresses. But But the defendant has already admitted to pulling the blade from the wound. Clearly, this isn't the moment that the knife was plunged into the victim's back, but the moment it was withdrawn. Don't waste this court's time with your ramblings.
Indeed, without knowledge of who produced this print, we have no means of verifying the claim. And the scene it captures is without a doubt the most compelling evidence present to the court. CzarThwomp cannot speak. If the defense is unable to shed any further light on the matter, I believe the conclusion is clear.
Oh no!
Susanoo, this is the time for you to fight. It's what you've established so far is true, then there can be no doubt. This photograph shows the moment that Ray withdrew the blade from the victim.
Yes, we just need to prove that somehow. Ha ha! You'll have plenty of time to rue your defeat on the slow train back to the provinces. And to rue the day you came up against Takatsuchi Auchi in the court of law. If I can't determine who took this photograph, then the trial's going to come to an end. There must be a clue somewhere. There must be some way of working out who did it.
Well, counsel?
Your Excellency, the burning question is who took this photograph, and the truth is,
I'm gonna say I have an answer. We always have an answer.
this isn't about whether I can or can't come up with the answer now. I simply have to. The identity of the person who took this dramatic photographic print is, I assure you, something the defense can and will reveal. What? No! You can't possibly! But as you so boldly claim you can, please, do enlighten us. Unfortunately, I'm unable to present a name. How utterly underwhelming! Did you really believe you could? However, I am able to present evidence. The evidence has a piece of evidence. This defense is a piece of evidence that reveals important details about the photographer's identity. What?
Very well then, counsel. Present your proof to the court. What piece of evidence do you claim reveals something about the identity of the mysterious photograph?
As you can see, sorry. Thought there was an image of the photographer in here. Okay. Let me just check.
Take that!
What is that? The newspaper again? Ronja's Englishman journey tells all.
It's not the headline that's relevant here, Your Excellency. It's the photograph. If you look at it closely, you'll notice that there's some white lines on the right side.
Ah, yes indeed. They had already caught my eyes as it happened.
Ah, what of it? A shadow of some kind, presumably? From the branch of a tree or the like?
Yes, the restaurant tree. There are no trees growing inside my laboratory at the university, I can assure you.
Now, if you look closely at this photograph,
Good gracious.
yes, exactly the same pattern of lines is present on this photograph too.
Objection!
Well, that tells us nothing! Ha! Yes, it's a shadow of some kind, definitely, from the branch of a tree! The beech tree! There wouldn't have been any trees growing inside the beach, Council. Ugh!
What's quite remarkable about it is that the two patterns are absolutely identical. How could such an extraordinarily similarity have transpired?
A curious matching pattern that appears on both photographic prints is the result of
A camera defect.
obviously, it must be due to a problem with the camera used to take the photographs. With the photographic device?
Yes. We can confidently say that the camera's lens must be scratched, and that the scratched lens causes unwanted lines to appear on every print taken with the device.
In short, the two photographs under consideration here were taken with the same camera. But there must be hundreds of camera devices here in the capital. It It would be utterly impossible to identify the owner of this particular one.
Objection!
I think you're forgetting Professor Prosecutor Auchi. Yes, Professor Auchi, the next line in the Professor Layton series. That one of the photographs featured in a newspaper article. A newspaper? Ah! That's right. The author of that article is the mysterious witness to this crime. What? What?
Menimemo!
I'm sorry, thought it was someone else.
I see you were called a raunchous Englishman returnee.
What are you yelling about? You're already testified.
It's Menimemo! I tell you, Menimemo! Menimemo!
Soseki-san? What was that? Did you say Menimemo?
Ever since I returned to Japan, a reporter from the Shoyo News has been hounding me, following my every move, talking about how in the future all days will be puns. A reporter by the name of Raiten Menimemo. Ah, yes, hounding me from dawn till dusk.
Ah, now he mentions it.
The secret is mine. Stop ghosts, scribble stories, and scupper my privacy.
Could that same reporter be?
A camera to the left of him, a notebook to the right. And there I am, stuck in the middle with Raiten Menimemo. So you're saying that this picture was taken by Menimemo? Yes, my lord, your excellency, Esquire. Officer, find this newspaper reporter at once and bring him to my courtroom. We will adjourn for a short recess in the meantime.
Oh, yes, Your Excellency. As you say, Your Excellency.
And one more thing. I want this knife, the murder weapon, examined for traces of poison. You will solicit the assistance of the Imperial University's medical department for this task. Understood?
Meh. Menimemo!
Like waiting for Goto, but much more dramatic. To be continued. No, I'm not saving the game. 13th of August, 10:41 a.m. Supreme Court of Judicature, Defendants Antechamber. 3. I'm so sorry, Susato. I should have told you about the toxin.
Ray!
You have a strong sense of responsibility, I know. That's why you decided to shoulder the burden alone.
No!
Yeah, sorry. No, that's not it at all. I was scared of my failure coming to light, that's all. So I hoped to retrieve the substance from the Englishwoman before anyone found out. Before the trial started, do you remember what you said, Susato? That you had no doubt in your mind about my innocence? That you'd stand by me to the last?
I remember.
And yet I didn't deserve your trust in me. I hid important details from you, Susato. I completely betrayed your faith in me. Hit me, Susato. I deserve it. No, in fact, throw me to the floor. No, that's too good for me as well. Drag me through the city streets. And then Mikan comes in.
Are you challenging me? Because I'll defeat you. I know better, you know.
Oh?
Even though in my heart I knew you'd pulled the knife blade from Miss Brett's back, there was just a brief moment when, in my mind, I doubted you.
Susato.
I'm sorry. After I stood here and promised you that I'd stand by you and always be by your side, I betrayed your faith in me too. And as such, I failed you as a lawyer.
Oh, no.
I think the situation has taught CzarThwomp that he flubs everyone's lines. I think the situation has taught both of you a valuable lesson. Placing your unbridled faith in another is no easy task.
Yes, Father. The fact has certainly struck home. Which is why I can see more clearly now. So, Ray,
Yes?
can you find in your heart to forgive me?
Oh, Susato. You know you'll always be a gallant, dashing lawyer in my eyes now.
Oh, Ray!
I was so scared, when it happened. I didn't know what was going on. The English woman was standing at the back of the hut, listening to what I was saying. I know it was you who stole the poison.
Well now, whatever do you mean?
And then a moment later, she suddenly got to her feet. Before collapsing on the floor in front of me, with a knife in her back. It all happened right before my eyes. And you...
And you were the only people in the hut at the time?
That's right, just Miss Bread and myself. There was no one else. So I just don't understand how she could possibly have been stabbed like that.
A great mystery indeed.
I still can't believe it happened. That's why I just couldn't bring myself to speak up.
It will be alright. However it happened, and whatever really went on by the sea that day. I promise you that I'm gonna prove everything you said you saw is true.
Spoken like a true Mikotoba. Now, I think we should discuss what's coming up in the trial, don't you? We don't have much time. We must make sure we have our facts in order.
Yes, I expect the poison is going to come under close scrutiny in the upcoming proceedings. The police should hopefully have identified it on the blade by now.
The trouble is, it's a completely new laboratory synthesized blend of alkaloids. The police won't have any way of testing for it.
Oh, I see.
Yes, without this chemical reagent, it's impossible to detect the toxin.
Chemical reagent?
I sent a colleague of mine on with some earlier to deliver to the police headquarters. I think perhaps you should have some as well, though, just in case.
The chemical has been entered into the court record.
What's the matter, Susato? You're suddenly very quiet.
It's this newspaper article. Exclusive deadly poison stolen from UMI Medical Research Laboratory. I'm wondering how the information got out, given that it was a government secret.
It was all the English woman's doing.
What?
It was when the professor and Soseki-san were being interviewed in the laboratory. That so-called English lady swanned in, and without any compunction, said to Professor Mikotoba,
Professor, surely your guests would love to hear about your work on that substance there.
It put me in a very awkward position, to be frank. But Soseki-san's curiosity had been piqued, so I had little choice but to give him a cursory introduction.
So then, Soseki-san knew about the poison.
Yes, and it's highly likely that the reporter who was writing up the story about us would have caught a glimpse of the toxin too.
This Menimemo-san.
By the way,
that reporter joined you all when you went to the beach?
oh, no, I don't remember the reporter being there.
Indeed, he shouldn't have been. I very much doubt anyone would have wanted him there.
Oh?
A known criminal had been given permission by the authorities to bathe by the seaside. Soseki-san pointed out that inviting a reporter might be problematic, so the man was sent back to his office.
Yet he obviously didn't go back. He secretly followed the party to the beach and took this very candid photograph. And then presumably he posted it anonymously to the police.
Yes, that must be what happened. Counsel! We've just heard that the new witness is now ready to testify. The trial is about to resume. Please proceed into the courtroom at once.
Which we'll do in the next episode. Anyways, I really appreciate that you stuck around to watch this episode. You're a great viewer, and I hope you come back for the next one. If you like this video, like, subscribe, comment, share, do everything you want. But I'll see you next time. Bye.